Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trek Talk. I'm TechMan16. So the following episode happened as an impromptu episode featuring InHarmsWay, Fire at Will, LastManDown, DragonFyre, and Gman of Server 38. And the episode kind of picks up mid-conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy with Kirk and Handy as moderators.
And I'm sitting outside it, and if you unshield, I'll crack you. Period. You know it.
I'm sure you're sitting out there because that's what you usually do is sit outside my base. I'm not a big man. I don't care about any of this. I guess I'm tired of you guys pretending that TRBL, and specifically Juicy Girl, is not a member of your team doing what you want her to do. And if you don't control her, and if you don't control her actions, you shouldn't protect her.
And we wanted her to stop raiding you guys, but you stupid, you were the one who, when she was going to end the raid, you were going to give her that base. No, you had to push her out and take the base for yourself because you're stupid. That kept the war going. Then you started
protecting an alliance member, and she had no right to raid him or let me, or for me to expect me to allow her to raid one of my guys for no reason with no explanation from our admiral is ridiculous. You guys want to do it, and there's no way that a 65-man alliance bends to the knee to one little girl and her simp followers. It's not going to happen. I don't get where you guys think this is normal, where this is allowable, and where you guys think you avoid responsibility for her actions when you make her actions possible.
You're not going to be a member of any team, because anywhere you go, I'm going to cunt you. I'm going to cunt you down, I'm going to crack your base, and I'm going to open up that team, and you know goddamn good and well there's no one that can stop me. No one.
And that is why I say you guys haven't changed in the last year and a half. That language, that attitude, same thing, same story, same actions. I don't know why you think we don't notice that you're the same people.
Problem with women. You have a mental problem with women. I'll tell you what, I find it so disgusting when you tell Juicy she smells like tuna fish, or you can smell her coming, or all the rest of the stuff you called her, like cunt Z, and all the other stuff. You know,
I haven't called her or did one single thing that you've listed. Not once.
Brought it up.
Also, it's not an insult to all women if you're insulting one person in particular. I just wish you'd say or put out one insult that I called her.
Tell everybody what a fucking type brain you have, you twisted little worm.
Let's go from the quit the insults. Last man, I'm gonna put it to you like
this. Last man, hold on, Fire. Let me say something here. Last man down. So you've made multiple vile comments about this young lady who plays the game. You can sit there. You can sit there and say
screenshots.
What was your friend's name who got raided? What was his name?
Can someone share these screenshots?
What was his name?
Defile.
No, that wasn't his name. That wasn't his name. What was his name in reference to Juicy? What was his name?
I don't remember. He changed it for like 4 hours. I have no idea what it was.
Exactly. He named his name a vile name. You know what I mean? And got himself banned from the game because of it.
Okay. So that's not my fault that he did that.
But
I'm not going to let an alliance member get raided for no reason.
You and him have been making. You know what I mean? The difference is he got caught. That's the difference. Okay.
No, the difference is I know where the line is. I don't cross it, so I don't get banned.
Really, really. So when you're threatening, saying that you're going to shoot something, a whale, or along those lines, which you've stated before, which you're 34, which you said on GC, okay?
I did not say I was going to shoot anyone or anything. If you look back, if you have the screenshot somewhere, it was clearly part of a story I was telling. I threatened no one. I said it would hurt no one. The fact that you guys all assumed it was somebody and assumed that I was threatening somebody is all in your mind. It's not what I put out into GC. If you'd been reading the comments, you would understand that. It's not my fault that you guys want to turn this into some sort of violent, sexist, misogynistic stuff. Maybe you guys are just taking these words from CNN, but I haven't done any of this.
That's you in a nutshell. That whole last sentence is you.
But it's okay.
That's certainly what you've called me for the last 2 months, but nothing I've said has been against somebody's sex, somebody's race. Nothing I've said has been violent towards anyone. The fact that you guys continue to say this stuff doesn't actually make it true.
Yeah, it does, because it's all true.
So hold on a minute. Hold on, everybody, just chill out here. Hold on a minute. So I'm listening to this and I'm trying to glean what's going on. So from what I'm gathering is that there's 3 people in this room that are accusing LastManDown of these things, and I've heard someone say something about screenshots. And if there are screenshots, I feel like those should probably be brought forth so that that we can see them. So that we can.
Everything was said in GC. I'm sure that they screenshotted them, but none of what they've said thus far is in relation to me, or it's a distortion of what I put out in GC to fill a narrative that they need, because otherwise everybody remembers that they're the giant jackasses of the server that make the rest of us miserable playing it, and that they protect the most miserable person on the server from the rest of us. Also, she's InHarm's girlfriend. So that's why he's going so hard at me, because he's got to go home to that.
She's married, not to Harms. She's married to Zeldor, which is on her team.
Okay,
so
all right.
That's another false statement.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he was saying it. Maybe they're like best buds or something. Maybe they're saying it. I was just saying, if there are screenshots, somebody had mentioned that there are screenshots, and we all know that this game, when somebody says something, it's kind of like real life, like nowadays, right? Like 2021. If there's not video of it, it didn't happen. Like that's the way we live, and so that's like I'm not doubting anything. All I'm saying is that you know that if anybody hears or listens or says anything, it's one of those things that's like, well, where is it? We want to see it, we want to see what did this person say? Oh my God, what did they say? We want to see it. So that's the only thing that I'm bringing up. I'm sorry. Just please continue.
What LastManDown, what exactly did you say?
About what? Which time? Like, you guys have thrown out so many accusations right now. I can't even keep
right now. Hold on. Everybody, hey, listen. Right now, the people right now with the three little shield things, we're the hosts of the show. So we have not said anything. We don't know anything that goes on your server. We're just trying to kind of ascertain like what exactly is going on, because obviously it's all new to us. We're neutral people. We don't know anything that's going on. We're just trying to figure out.
I'm Handy.
Yeah, right. So Handy is also one of the hosts of the show. So that's what we're trying to do.
If I could lay out the basic timeline of the server and what's been going on and why these guys are so defensive about all this?
Yes, y'all please. I promise everybody's going to get a chance. It's just everybody talking at once. It's hard to follow, and I'm very interested to hear what's going on here. So if you could just let him say, even if you disagree, I get it, I know it. Just wait for him to say his piece, and please and then we'll go from there.
All right. So I'll take this all the way back to the start of the server, because that's where it started. Basically, start of the server, TRBU was the big dog on campus. They could do whatever they want. They had very few rules. It was kind of the Wild West, and they spent the most money, so they ruled the server. And it got to the point that eventually another alliance, SEYC, came up, had more power than them, dethroned them. Very bitter about this. They went through a couple of different wars, and then ever since then, the core group that's left from TRBU has been transferring from alliance to alliance. And every time they start a new alliance,
real quick, hold on, real quick, just in case. What server is it that you're from again? I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem. Server 38.
Okay, 38. So, got it. Please continue.
Yeah. So the core guys from TRBU go from starting alliance to starting alliance, and every time they start a new alliance, they start a new war, because they can't let go of the fact that they're out of power. They're not the big dogs on server anymore, so they start a new war. Oh man, every few months or something. Now don't get me wrong, we're all kind of tired of SEYC too, because they hold their power over everybody's head, drives us all nuts. But Borg are the ones who have this hardcore group always going against them, and they want to be totally free of any rules on them. Same way, like SEYC has the biggest guy in the server, TK Boss. He can do whatever he wants. Nobody says or does anything against him. He gets away with murder. Borg wants to be that. They just aren't there yet. So anyway, they're on their like third alliance right now. And they have this girl that's been a part of their alliance and then been separate from their alliance. She's been kicked from 4 or 5 alliances, I think, at this point. Basically, she just wants to kill ships. PvP is her only thing. She's like a level 34 now, I think. And she is ridiculously annoying. She just makes up random rules and then will declare war on an alliance for that. And Borg, which is the current TRBU guys, have consistently protected her from other alliances trying to go after her because she's hitting all their miners UPC and she's saying stuff in chat and in GC and in Discord. She's very much a troll. So, anyway, along this long road of alliances and them protecting her against everybody, I used to be a member of the DBB Alliance, and she pulled the same stuff with us. I was in their territory destroying their warships before TC takeover. She warned me off, and I was like, no, like, fuck off. Like, I can kill warships in your territory before the TC takeover has even started. That's not a rule on any alliance. I'm not listening to your bullshit. So she started a war against us. And Borg was constantly interfering in the war. They weren't a part of it. They didn't want to be a part of it, but they did want to protect Juicy Girl and her friends from any repercussions from their actions. So the war progresses. I start saying all kinds of insults in GC. And I said some mean and nasty things. None of them.
Thank you.
What?
Right.
Just let him finish, please. Let him finish, please. Let him finish. Let him finish.
So I said some mean and nasty things in GC. She couldn't take it. Her boyfriend's over in Borg or whatever they are to her. I don't know. Whatever they are, they have a weird relationship. This has been going on for like a year and a half at this point, with Borg guys constantly coming to her defense against everyone else. So anyway, we tried peace a bunch of different times for weeks before I started saying anything in GC. I finally got sick of it. I got sick of us placating her by not calling her out in GC and not talking and not confronting her and the people who were supporting her and preventing us from stopping her attacking us constantly. So I started saying some pretty mean things in GC, including one particular fantasy story in which I called no one by name anything, and it was about trolls and magical creatures. It was particularly mean and nasty, and they projected her and other people onto the characters of this story. And since then have been calling me sexist, misogynistic, all this stuff. Look, I have only called specific people names for specific things in specific ways. None of it's been sexist, misogynistic, racist, and I've never threatened violence, which is definitely not something that any of Borg leadership can say. Not one of them cannot say they've not texted or messaged someone on our server threatening physical harm or challenging them to come meet them somewhere so they can beat them up. Not one of them can say that. So,
okay.
I went rogue from my alliance because I was sick of Borg protecting her and not actually getting themselves involved in the war, just protecting her from the sidelines. So I've been rogue for the last month, killing Borg ships, interrupting Borg armadas, just being a huge pain in the ass. And just this week, I just found out that they finally dumped Juicy Girl. At least they ended their alliance officially for the moment because she was attacking one of their allies and they couldn't get her to stop attacking one of their allies. So my whole point has been from the beginning that if you don't have any control over this person and what she's going to do, then you don't protect them. And if you do protect them, that means you're taking responsibility for their actions and you're saying what they're doing is okay and it's good and you are asking for us to go attack you instead of her.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So I'm definitely hearing that. You specifically mentioned InHarmsWay, and InHarmsWay, I would like to give you the floor if you have a rebuttal for this. If you're listening, I see you're muted up. Are you still here? Are you drifting around? I see you. There you go.
No. My rebuttal for this is pretty much everything I've stated on here is true. This particular person is lying to you, extremely lying, because his talk on there, I have stuff that I've posted to him telling him that he's filthy. And that, of course, I'm going to hit him. Because we had people in our alliance, women in our alliance, threaten to quit if we didn't do something about it. This guy wasn't even close to being some social warrior. No. And what happened was his alliance booted his ass because of all this. And then he attacked us out of some kind of sick revenge. And now all it is we kill him as best we can. You know, he unshields his base. I pop it. Theo pops it. Anybody in our alliance who can will take him down. He's
and
not.
What is the alliance that you're in?
I'm in. Well, first of all, as the only TRBU member in this alliance right now, in the three that are here, I'm in Borg.
Okay.
But I was in TRBU, and what we were we weren't the biggest alliance. We were a mid-sized team that got tired of being told exactly how we were going to play. We have been at war with this type of thing forever. We didn't like people telling us, well, you can't raid this base. You can't go here. You can't do this. You know, like your friend, what's his face, Prime Minister said. He said that, you know, you can do it the proper way and all's good. What's all good about a proper way of raiding? I haven't figured that one out yet. I mean,
stealing someone's shit isn't exactly proper, is it?
No, and when I get violent, I get violent. I'm probably one of the most pacifist person on the server. Don't raid.
And for those of us who don't know, myself, Handyman, and Tech. I'm not sure if Tech knows. Tech's definitely in the know, but what level are you? What are you packing? What kind of are you packing?
I'm packing a 47.
Okay, all right. So it's pretty good. What's your highest ship level? What are you rocking there?
About 14 million. Just under. About 13.
Is it like a Coronar? Is it a Newton?
No. It's only a stage 1 ship. I'm still working on my stage 2.
No. I was just curious. I'm sorry.
It's a Baldor.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, no, and this stuff went on, and so we got together as a team, and we, as far as that goes, we beat SCYC, his favorite team, at their peak. We made their admiral step down in humiliation, and the reason why we did that is because he was lying on the server about us. We just got tired of it and went to war with them and beat them. Okay, that's what happened with TRBU. Now with Borg, we've been more or less, we're not TRBU by any means of the imagination, because if we were, we would have slaughtered DBB. We would have just slaughtered them. There would have been no way they would have got away with that. Plus at Borg, almost all our players were in the top tiers. Every one of them is in the top 20 at least, top 30 for sure. And they don't understand that we're not bored, or we're not TRBU, we're bored. And we tried to be calm with them, negotiate with them. We had it all worked out where the war would end between them and Juicy, because one of their guys were quitting. He said it was okay if Juicy raided his base to stop the war. That would have been fine.
Juicy is this female that we've been talking about, correct?
She actually is an ex-TRBU person.
Okay, all right.
We go way back.
Okay, so is that one of the reasons why when he was talking about that you guys come to her defense or something is because you have some history there? You guys have been in the same alliance before and so forth?
A lot of history. There's a ton of history. He can say she was kicked out of 2 teams or 4 teams or whatever it was. As far as I know, and I don't know any more than this, she was in another alliance. She quit. She came to TRBU. She was ejected there by a group of namby-pambies that now are on the coalition side. And she's formed her own alliance and been a terror to the server ever since. But she plays within row. What LastManDown doesn't like is that she's a female, she's very aggressive, and she's very outspoken person. And he doesn't like that. He wants her to be some meek woman on the sidelines, where he can bully and push her around. And she's just not like that. I'll tell you what, if she went to war with us, I'd go into deep space and not come down.
And what level is this person you're talking about?
Well, she was recently at 32, but now I think she's gone up to 34. But I'm
34.
Not sure.
She is 34.
Then she's 34. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Okay. All right. As
far as raiding goes, I want to say this: I don't raid. Everybody on here knows I don't raid, except for one person now. And that's LastManDown. I do raid him.
Well, I think those of us who are at least, I would say at least level 39 or above, I think that, and even some people below that, we understand that that's just so time consuming. And unless you just want to raid for whatever reason, it's more trouble than it's worth. So I think we all understand that. I do want to move on to, I'm just going to kind of go down the list here. Dragon, just real quick, I know that you, that Will, and Gman here have some stuff to say, so I just want to go down the list. What say you on this stuff that's going on? Dragon. Oh, there you are.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. So it's kind of hard to say where to start, Last Man, he gave you a rundown of the server TRBU. InHarmsWay was part of that. I was one of the staunch, self-determined, going to stand up to the bullies players, and used to constantly interfere with their raids, raid their bases, whatever I could do to disrupt TRBU. And I was really successful with it, being much smaller powered at the time than them. And one of my Commodores was there with me, and we were the group that we were going to stand up to the bullies. That was always our thing. And the bullies kind of change over time, depends on who it is that's got the power. LastManDown was part of this alliance that is DBB. They were aggressive. People didn't like them. And we allied with them to fight TRBU's ally. And we joined a war with them. Became allies. Now, Borg is allied with them. Last Man's not there anymore, but that's how things work. One point in time you're staunch enemies. Next point in time you're good friends. Fred Will said it earlier. At one point we couldn't stand each other, and now we're great friends. I'm the Admiral of Horse. Horse is an alliance that's always been used as a sledgehammer by other alliances because we're aggressive, we're PvP, we fight very dynamically, and as a result, always end up being somehow in the midst of the chaos. We have a bunch of allies by different kinds of reasons. Many of them were allies with the Alliance before I became Admiral. But we had this war when Borg was fighting the 7 alliances. We were on the side of the coalition, and Dragon Queen and I
hold on just a second, Dragon. Hold on just a second. Handy, are you stacking chairs?
Oh, did I unmute myself?
It sounds like you're just like stacking chairs at a banquet hall.
No, my garage door popped a freaking track. I couldn't get a damn thing to close, so I'm trying to listen and fix my garage doors.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
You should call a handyman.
Yeah,
That's
really.
exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing some handyman shit. Leave me alone.
Well, fucking mute the fuck up, man, because you're interrupting Dragon's fucking goddamn side of the story.
Well, my banging around is much more interesting. Just saying. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Get the fuck out of here! No, it's not. This shit is fucking riveting. I love this shit.
No, I know it's great. Actually, trying to follow fighting with the garage door. Continue. Sorry.
So, we were part of the coalition, and we had 2 wars with them. Now, this is after all the TRBU wars. We had I was in a different alliance, Fire, F-Y-R-E, Blackfire, B-L-A-K-K. And we joined Warhorse. And when we joined Warhorse, it was the same thing because our 2 alliances were the same. We were always confronting TRBU, we were always confronting ASF, and then Jen, who they were like 3 allies, really like a family. If you got involved with one, the other 2 showed up, and very dynamic and defensive of each other. And so Horse and those 3 alliances, ASF, TRBU, and Jen, all had these players who they would go rogue like Last Man's doing, and they would violate alliances rules and then come back, be treated like champions or whatever for standing up to the other guys outside of the rules. And so our 4 alliances decided we weren't going to have it anymore. And that's when we started being able to see eye to eye. We created a set of rules, Maquis Accords, and banned people. Fire at Will, unfortunately, was when they got banned. And, that was my concept. And so, that's a big slap in the face, right?
Hold on. Got banned from what?
He got banned from going back to his alliance because he had gone rogue, per se. Because we made this agreement that the 4 alliances, which were all aggressive and had these rogue players, we're not going to stand for it anymore. If they go rogue, they can't come back. And we gave everybody 48 hours to come back, and anybody that didn't got locked out. And not just locked out of their alliance, but all 4 alliances. We just agreed. We're not going to have this rogue activity. But it kind of started those 4 alliances being able to talk and not be constantly at each other's throats. And so I make this point because Fire at Will was one that got locked out. I know we have talked about it since, but we're good buddies now. So we move past this point, and they keep saying, Borg is TRBU, and you heard InHarmsWay is the TRBU of Borg. Borg, the collective, after the big war, they started trying to not change how they play per se, but be amenable to people's concerns. And they changed their name to the Borg Collective to try to be inclusive, and they're all one body, one voice, whatever, to kind of change people's perception of them. And people can't let go of the past. They can't let go of these things. LastManDown is a guy that can't let go of the things that parted ways. But I would expect them to defend her because they're allies. Now, our friend PM the other day made a comment that there's no small number of alliances that are pertinent on the server. And I will tell you that Juicy's alliance of 6 is very pertinent because the guerrilla warfare style that they use to play the game absolutely torments the large alliances. And really it's her and her husband. The two of them can absolutely terrorize an alliance of 75 players who have level 50s, level 49, 48s, 47s, and she can absolutely terrorize them.
And what level are they again?
They're level 34s, her and her husband. And it's because they are not scared to take out your miner, and they will put an embargo on you mining.
Now, what drove them to this kind of play style?
That's a good question for you to ask them.
Somebody's got to have asked them before.
She feels very strongly about it. And, you talk about rules of engagement. That's her rules of engagement. Pirate Will used to be with them. He might be able to tell you more about that.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that. I mean, the one thing that I will say is somebody who's Handy. What would you call me? A higher mid-level player or a mid-higher level player? What would you say? Like the early 40s, somewhere in there.
It's like mid-high.
Yeah, so
higher echelon of mid-ranged.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's not a single 34 that can touch any of my miners because I don't mine in G3 space anymore. So I will say that. So when you say that they can get to level 50s and stuff, I mean, are level 50s mining 3? I feel like there's probably
it would be my guess.
I mean, ISO might be the only thing, but I mean, even then, like I say,
I mean, we've seen on our server, like Key, for example, going ballistic over his ISO getting hit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like I say, but I mean, it's just, just for me, it's kind of hard to fathom that somebody at 34 could really actually do anything to me that's of any consequence. Like I say,
no, but if you let somebody like that affect you, and you react, and you start sending PMs, and you go in GC, and you blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, I guess you've let them win. You've let them win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, they're loving it.
Yeah. You've let them
win. If I might
win.
interject real quick, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We have like 2 level 50s, so level 40 and above is high for our server.
Right.
There's that. Yeah, they don't really affect people that big. I know my biggest problem was they drove. I think we lost 6 players permanently off the game because of them.
Okay.
So, and they were all small guys. Like they were all in their low 20s. They got driven off by.
And one more time, I can't remember if you've said it. What level are you, last man?
I'm a level 36. My biggest ship is an Enterprise 2.7 million.
Okay. All right. So I want to move on to Will. So we're not dragging on too terribly long. I want everybody to get an opportunity to say what they need to say and to speak their piece. So, Will, what say you?
Well, kind of to go into the fact with the fact that I used to be a TRBL, a lot of it had to do with the Marquis Accords that Dragon was talking about. I was completely opposed to them. I dropped tags personally because of the back and forth between TRBU, Horse, the known coalition at the time. And there was a lot of issues. And that's what, and Juicy at the time being TRBL, her base would get attacked many times. Well, when she, left TRBU, she was actually kicked out of TRBU over a disagreement with their leadership. And so she created her own alliance. And oftentimes, because of her playstyle, because she's an OPC hunter, and when I was in my mid-level 30s too, I was the same way. And so oftentimes when you would hit somebody OPC and they were of a higher level, they'd come back and they'd crack your base. And they do it repeatedly and say, you better not ever do it again. Well, for somebody
that's just being a poor sport and a bully.
Oh yeah. But we do know that. I mean, let's be honest here. I'm just going to interject. We do know that if you're a bit of a lower level and you pick a fight with a bit of a higher level, you do know that's a danger. So,
of course,
I understand that it may be some sort of a bully thing, blah 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 blah. But here's the thing:
a little bit, but it's the type of game it is. So.
Well, but here's the thing: it's kind of like what Snoop Dogg said. If you're scared, go to church. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's a thing. It may not be the right thing for them to do, but you definitely can't whine about it if you continue on and you know the consequences. I'm just going to say that. I'm sorry, Will. Please continue.
Well, that's okay. And and I understand what you're saying about the bullying thing, but instead of being a victim, she did something about it. So instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm getting bullied, I'm a victim," you know what? I'm going to attack your alliance back. So, say a level 45 hits and cracks your base. Level 40 hits and cracks your base. Obviously, she can't take on that individual, but that individual is usually part of a larger alliance, a variety of people. And that individual, she can take out their miners. And when you're not able, like in many times in wars, when you're not able to mine, it's not as easy to grow unless you just want to spend money. So it depends on.
So I'm just going to ask this clarifying question here. So if she hits somebody for OPL, we call OPL overprotected limit. You say OPC overprotected cargo. We know it's the same thing. But you hit somebody for that, and then they come and crack her base, right? Both of those things technically, in most servers, is within their ROE or COC or whatever the hell acronym people use. It varies from server to server. We know both of those things in there. But she would then take it a step further and start dry hitting miners?
Yeah, if it depended on how often it happened. It wasn't just like instantaneously. It would be more like.
Was she considered a rules of engagement player or a COC player, code of conduct player?
I always believed she was, and I still to this day think she is because
she's not if she's out dry hitting. If she's out dry hitting ships just to blow up miners when she's not getting anything out of it, all she's doing is trolling people.
Well, it's a declaration of war at that point. It's not just hit the miners. It's like, I'm declaring war against you.
Basically, and that's what we're saying. That's the only thing we're saying. I'm not saying anybody. Right. Well, here's the deal. We don't know what's going on, right? Because obviously people are saying things about her and all these things that you guys are saying that's going on.
My point is hang on real quick. My point is if she's a role player, she can be reasoned with. So, like, if she wants to play this guerrilla warfare game and that's her game and she's enjoying it, there's not a whole lot you can do. You might as well just ignore the issue and play your game, and it'll probably go away eventually.
Yep.
However, if she actually wants to play, her and her husband want to play by, the server's rules of engagement, then really all you got to do is negotiate with her. A little bit of diplomacy goes a long way. And, some of these big players that have been acting like assholes because they want to be treated differently because they spent more. Now, this is coming from a level 50. I'm level 50.
Mhm.
So, I've definitely spent more. And I've caught myself before feeling like I'm better than somebody else, but then I check myself before I open my fat mouth. And I say, you know what? We're all people. We're all playing the same game. Yeah, I spent more, but that doesn't give me, that doesn't make me any better than anybody else. It means I'm a little more powerful, sure, but that doesn't mean somebody can't fuck with me. Case in point, this couple, they're fucking with people, so you just can't treat people like shit, even if they're level 34. So really, the people that have been fucking with them need to apologize and need to come to her and say, look, we don't want you hitting our team anymore. What is it going to take to stop this?
Well, I can appreciate that, but I will also I do appreciate that and I understand it, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things where both of the actions that we talked about were OPL hunting and base cracking. Here's the thing: if you're OPL and you get hit, okay, you should have fucking logged into your game and recalled your miner before it was OPL. Number one.
First.
Number two. On the flip side, if you keep getting your base cracked, put up a fucking shield. It's literally that easy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Once you take it a step further and you start dry hitting miners, no matter, I'm telling you this right now, this is what people see. This is how the vast majority of people are going to view it. We've seen that. Handy, you've seen it. Tech's seen it. Pretty much everybody in here's seen it. If you've been playing the game as long as we have, once you take it that step further and you start dry hitting miners, you've now gone outside that. And now, no matter what the initial reason was, you're in the wrong. You can try to argue it. You can try to justify it. There is no justification. You have gone outside it. Now, of course, at the end of the day, we all know it's just a freaking game. Everybody needs to get over themselves. However, when we start talking about within the game and we want to get serious here, if somebody comes and keeps cracking my base, I put up a shield. It's happened to me. It hasn't happened to me in quite a while because even some of you really big guys, you come to my base right now and I guarantee you if all my ships are home, you're not going to one-shot it. It's not going to happen. My base is just too big now. But let's say that were the case. All I would do is throw up a shield. It's pretty simple. If I'm silly enough, to use your term silly, that you like to say all the time, Handy, if I'm silly enough, and I'm using that because it's a kind word, if I'm silly enough to just let it keep happening, that's on me. That's on me and my own stupidity. So nothing against this person, nothing against this juicy person. I'm not saying they're a bad person. I'm not saying that they're dumb or whatever, blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying is if somebody continues to do it to you, you put up a shield. Now they can't crack your base. Now you don't have a problem.
Well, see, there's a lot of people that like to fall back on the, well, they're just being bullies. They'll literally sit there and not shield and show a whole bunch of hits saying, look at what they're doing to me. Just to curry favor. Just to try and rile people up.
Absolutely.
So it's trolling in both directions. You've got two trolls trolling each other. Yeah. And really, as a server, you should all look at both of them and tell them they're both idiots.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
If she were here, I would tell her the same thing. I don't mince words, and I'm not going to pull punches. I mean, that's just the way it is. I've been in a situation where I'm just going to keep repairing, and I'm just going to keep letting them hit me. Well, at the end of the day, obviously, that's my choice. That's my fault. It's some sort of like, ha, 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 you're not going to crack me. I'm just going to keep repairing. Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I can't turn around and try to play the victim. Right? What they're doing is completely within ROE, which is pretty much everybody's ROE or COC or whatever the acronym that you use. If you're hitting the base, it's a raid. Part of the game is getting your lunch taken, getting your shit stolen. I mean, we know that. So, that's just an issue. It kind of chaps me a little bit when I hear somebody saying, well, I started dry hitting their miners because they wouldn't stop hitting my base. Well, they didn't stop hitting your base because you didn't put up a fucking shield. It's that simple. But anyway, Will, I'm sorry. We kind of hijacked your converation. And
that's okay.
We totally cut you off. I'm sorry. Please continue if you can even remember what you were talking about.
No, it's fine. And as far as them, we just respect their gameplay and just kind of leave it at that. I mean, it's not any more than that. We did break off our alliance or allyship with them because we are moving in different directions, unfortunately. And it's not that we don't care about them, but when they're warring with multiple alliances and then our team is trying to protect them at the same time, it creates some challenges for us. You've heard PM's version of us.
I'm
Prime
curious.
Minister.
Do you agree with their actions? Just
Currently, no.
you personally,
Currently, I don't.
And
I hate to say that.
why don't you agree with their decisions? And have you told them?
Yes, we talked to him, myself, G-Man here, and our Admiral, Borg 6 and 9, talked to her. Because we feel basically at some point, like with DBB, she's at war with them still at war with them. We're going probably close to 3 months now. And now she's our major. We're in a trade agreement with DBB. And we're also allied with another one that she declared war with, which is one of her big allies in the trade agreement as well for TC. And we just, we get put in the middle of it quite a bit. And then we have these individuals at war with her, and then we're defending her territory at the same time because she does hold one of the territories. So it's really put our team in a rough spot. And so we're trying to move forward in the server itself because, like we said,
I mean, if it were me, I would show her that the server is not behind her. The more encouragement she gets, the more right she thinks she's going to be. And if people don't believe she's right, you got to just tell her and break ties. I mean, I know nobody wants to get hit by her. I don't know if Borg's getting hit by her right now, but if they're not, and you're worried about, you're trying, because I get it. I've been there before. I've tried to play nice with somebody because I didn't want him to hit my team, but at some point you just got to tell them, look, we don't agree with you. You want to take the whole server on by yourself? Go for it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that we still respect her because we're back to standard row with her. So if she OPC hunts us, hits us OPC, that's fine. Our standard idea, even for our team, OPC is OPC. Your OPC, as I like to tell everybody, if your butt's hanging in the wind, it's going to get kicked. So, I mean, that's part of it. And she has a right to do that. I mean, especially a two-man alliance that needs the resources that they're going after.
Well, if they're in war, if they're in a war state, they're not getting resources. They're not furthering their gameplay. They have crippled themselves immensely because all they're doing is spending what they have and they're not getting anything. And it's just that simple. I mean, that's why we have ROE, is to help everybody progress. Because if you're in a constant state of war, you're not playing the game too much.
Yeah, probably not. But you'd be surprised how well they do with raiding and the way they play the game. They're actually, I mean, I've scanned their bases a couple times, and they got plenty of resources. And they're not big money spenders. They do spend money.
Yeah, but I'll guarantee they're not progressing, and they're not doing a bunch of research, and they're not progressing. They're just not. I'll bet you they've stalled out.
If I might interject, what Borg is leaving out is they let TRBL raid their players when they kick them, and then Borg also cracks a lot of bases for TRBL. It was one of our complaints against them is they were feeding them resources while we're at war with them.
Because they've been allies with them. And from what I hear from Fire at Will right now is they realize that it's causing them issues and they don't agree with them. And I think, if I might speak for him, I think he's realizing the error of his ways. But he can't just outright and say it, like you got to kind of just back your play, right? So
yeah, no, I get that, and I'm cool with people lying whoever they want to, and OPC hunting and base raiding. I'm cool with all of that. What I'm tired of is them protecting her from the repercussions of her actions from everybody else. Because like I said, like level 40 is big for our server. And all of Borg leadership is over 40. And she has had 2 47s and a 46 constantly protecting her from everybody else.
Well, the real quick, I'm going to say this, and I want to move on to G-Man and give G-Man an opportunity to speak. Will has definitely said that recently that they've not become allies and they're just doing standard ROE now. Now, as far as somebody defending, I'm gonna put it like this: There was a smaller alliance that I went to for a couple of weeks to help them out. Really good folks. Shout out to the Temple Worms. They've since merged with another alliance. To this day, unless it's an ally, to this day, if somebody is messing with them, they will send me a PM and say, hey, can you help? Because they're all free-to-play players, as far as I know. To this day, if they send me a PM, I show up and I demolish anybody who's messing with them as best to my ability.
And to be fair, a lot of the bigger players just don't see all the wars and stuff as quite as big of a deal because it just doesn't affect them as much.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
So they're more likely to go swoop in and defend. It's kind of fun for them. They're just having a good time, I bet. They probably don't mean a whole lot by it, but
no.
Well, also, there's one other thing, guys. Like, the top 10 people for Power Destroyed on our server is me, one guy from Forge, and the rest are all Borg, including the top 5.
Yeah, we enjoy it too.
Including Juicy. Like, they're not like avoiding wars; they run towards the wars. Also, just put it out there, Juicy is the one. Juicy is the one who constantly starts every war. Well, it's also not typical because they're not the biggest alliance. Like, SEYC has way bigger guys, but they're not on the. I think they've got one guy in the top 15, maybe 2. The rest are like. I think 10 of the 15 are all Borg. Like, they have sought wars, and like I said with Juicy Girl, she
whatever. That's how they play their game. War. They're always in the shit. So
yeah.
I mean,
I don't object to it. I'm just saying, like, these guys aren't like just play and let play people. They constantly have to be involved with whatever's going on in the server.
Well, I'll tell you this right now: the alliance that I'm in is the number 2 alliance, and we absolutely have a reputation for ruthlessness, and we are. I mean, we're the number 1 rating alliance, me not included. I'm not too big of a raider. I'm sorry to anybody from Dark that's listening to this. I know I'm not representing our alliance well, but. It's just for me, it's a time constraint. I have a business to run, I have small children and so forth. So for me, it's kind of hard to spend several hours a day just going back and forth. I do enjoy raiding. I do enjoy stealing people's lunch. But it's a pain in the ass for me. But we're very ruthless, and we will absolutely steal your lunch. And it happens. We show up in force. We will force raid. If you show up with your alliance to defend your player who's not online, we'll show up and blow up your ships and force raid it, and it'll still happen. So I mean, every alliance has a culture. The one thing that I want to do is I want to move on to G-Man. G-Man's been sitting there patiently. G-Man, please tell us something. Let me know what's up. What's going on? You with us? Are you there?
He might be having the same trouble I was having.
He unmuted. If you're not able to talk, G-Man, go ahead and exit out. Come back in.
And you mind if I say one more thing real quick, Strange?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing that I want to portray about our server, because, I mean, SEYC's name's being mentioned. We got Horse here. We got our team. There's a team by the name of Genesis on there. If you look at those teams, like, we've had inherently aggressive behavior towards each other. But now, we're working a lot better together as alliances. It's not all negative to the degree some of the people like to do it. And I kind of appreciate.
Nothing's ever all negative.
No, and I appreciate. I work diplomatically with a lot of these alliances now, and personally, I appreciate the hard work that they put into it, just even to work with us, and that's why we're willing to work with people.
Right.
And it takes a lot of work on the server to get this done. And if we don't all try to work together on it, it just goes to crap. So, I mean, that's one thing I did want to say about this, because that's what I was a little irritated about. Representation of our server was, it's better than what people make it sound to be. Yeah, we're going to have fights. Yeah, we're going to have frustrations. Yeah, we're going to have those moments. And yeah, people get pissed when they get their base raided. Well, that's life, but we move on and we grow and hopefully work together.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's all I have
G-Man,
to
are
say.
you able to talk now, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome.
Okay,
We
cool.
can hear you now.
What do you got for us, man?
Well, first of all, how y'all doing tonight?
Excellent.
I am
Awesome.
existing. What's up?
All right. So basically, in a nutshell, we formed Borg after a long war. We came to a compromise with everyone, got to know people. Horse became our friends. We started having good relations. Diplomacy started to increase. Is Last Man Down correct? Do we fight? Absolutely. Who doesn't? You tell me one server on here who doesn't fight. You know what I mean? This isn't the Smurfs. This isn't SimCity. Okay, this is a fighting game.
If
Okay?
you listen to our podcast, you will hear of a couple of servers who are not really big into PvP. But I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're not. This isn't Farmville. We will fight. You know what I mean, and we will protect our allies. You're absolutely right. So we made an arrangement with DBB to be territory control. Have a territory control swap. We made a do not hit with them. Now, Last Man Down goes into Juicy's territory, starts hitting her ships. Before TC, during TC, and even after. Okay? The man's best friend, his name was Cunt Spray. That's why he got banned. Because he changed his name to something that was, yeah. So once again,
That's a visual.
Him along with Last Man Down and a couple of other ones, you know what I mean, were sitting there in GC spouting off foul conversations about her, calling her a stank fish, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean, and think that nobody else is noticing this. So, okay, fine, you know what I mean? Hey, you want us to stop Juicy? First of all, we are Borg, the Borg Collective. Okay, we are not TRBL. Okay, that was our ally at the time, and yes, we will defend our ally. You're right. A level, Jimmy coming in, Jimmy and all the other ones coming in there wanting to pound on her base, but you're mad because she's beating you at your own game. She's not going in GC talking about y'all. She's not sitting there making rant remarks. On the contrary, though, you and the rest of your fellow cohorts, you know what I mean, y'all continuously attempt to harass a two-person alliance. And mind you, that she took over that territory with just 2 people. That should be impressive in itself.
Absolutely.
So, okay, absolutely, yeah, hey, yeah, we did decide to go ahead because we are growing in a different direction. Hey, we told her, that's it. That's the end of it. You know what I mean? But make no mistake, Last Man Down, as far as you and I are concerned, me and you will always be at war. I will find you in whatever alliance you're in, and I will hunt you. I promise you.
So is there ever a way, would there ever be a way, hypothetically, I know everybody's a little charged up here, but would there ever be a way to get this off the table, to end this, in your opinion, G-Man?
Nah, because he's vile. Truly, vile to the core towards, and if you can make that about a statement about one woman, then obviously the server's going to project that towards every woman.
Right.
Because there's multiple women that play the game. You know what I mean? Instead of you being a bigger man and saying, you know what, for all the rude remarks that I may have made, I apologize right now. Hey, that would go a long way. But you even then, even on podcasts, you don't say it. So that tells me the kind of man that we are.
Anybody that says lewd stuff, maybe you have some lame excuse, but there's just no. It's just a video game, man. There's just no reason for it. We're all human.
And at the end of the day, I will say this: at least for me, and Handy, Tech, the 3 of us who run this show. Obviously, for anybody who's listening down there in the audience or whatever, we have not seen, and again, G-Man, nothing against you, nothing against anybody who's brought anything here. We haven't seen any evidence of this, so obviously we don't know. You see what I'm saying? We don't know. This is, at this point for us, it's kind of this person saying this, these people are saying that.
For us, at this point.
For us, you all know better. You all were there live in color. So you would know better, but for us, again, obviously we're just here to try to if you listen to our show, a lot of what we do is we try to really help people kind of move along. And if you've listened to our previous shows, we have helped several servers kind of move forward and try to get through this, providing an outside perspective. You look at one of our server 34, as far as power is concerned, we have a lot of big spenders. We have a lot of big levels. We have a lot of active players. So a lot of what you're saying, a lot of the things that what I'm hearing, we've seen this. We've gone through this. We know how to rectify these things. So that's all we do. I don't want anybody to misinterpret like any of us are talking down to anybody or saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's just that we've been there. So all of these things, we've had people that have said this. We've had players that have been banned for just this lewd, vile, things that you should really
threatening lives, threatening to hunt people down in real life, and all kinds of crazy stuff.
We've seen it, and a lot of those things we have been able to help, or at least bring it to light, to where a lot of those people who are saying those things may not necessarily feel comfortable saying those things. So, just that being said, I just wanted to ask that question because a lot of people, nothing against you, but a lot of people will say that, of course, up front. And then we found that even in our own server that we've been able to, hey, we got one of the guys who was our resident non-ROE person. Everybody hated his guts and all this stuff. And now the guy's in an ROE alliance and he's doing just fine. And the vast majority of people love him.
And these are people that hated his guts and said they would never speak to him, and now they're playing right alongside him. And
they're playing right alongside him. They love him. They think he's hilarious, and because he's a good person. He just decided to play a game differently. So that's all we try to do. We try to bring humanity into it. So my question.
Everybody makes mistakes. We're all human, man, and sometimes we double down on our mistakes, and sometimes we're ashamed of the things we do that are stupid. But you know what I mean?
Correct.
I've done it. And I'm sure, G-Man, you've been there. We're all human, man. All of us.
When we make mistakes, you know what I mean? Sometimes, hey, you have to pay the cost. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And when you make a mistake, you have to be able to learn from your mistake. You know what I mean? However, though, the individual continues. This doesn't stop just today. This has been going on, like he said, for the last 3 months. Okay, not one time. Even once. And it's multiple players that have messaged him, you know what I mean, that said, hey, man, you need to tone that down. You need to tone it down a little bit. I've messaged him myself and asked him to tone it down. Hey, if you're at war, you're at war. Let your ships do the talking. That's it.
Right.
Let your ships do the talking.
Or at the very least, keep the verbiage civil. And realize you're talking to another human being. Once again, we have never seen any evidence, and we would like to see it. If you could post any screenshots for us to read, to see what's been said.
Just real quick, so LastManDown, a lot of people, it seems you got 4 people here that are just accusing you of just this lewd stuff, and by your own admission, you've posted some pretty negative things. Do you feel like that was justified, or do you feel like that may have been kind of a knee-jerk reaction, just kind of being upset over this husband and wife team just trolling you and doing all these things? What do you think about that? Do you think maybe that you may have taken it a little bit far with the things that you've said? Maybe not the actions you've done. I'm not there. None of us are there on the other side of the fence. We don't know. But just the things that you've said, do you think maybe you've taken that a bit far?
Oh, sure. No, there's definitely a number of comments I've made. But like I guess I didn't say this. Look, they've gotten people banned before, like the guy who changed his name to Cunt Spray. He did that for a day and got banned and was out.
For good? Permit ban?
Purely because he was part of my alliance, no personal relationship, none of this other shit. I was just defending him. And so I've said pretty mean things to her, but I don't know. I play COD, guys. I have not said anything near anything on COD. And if they could have gotten me banned for anything that I said, they would have banned me already because they've gotten other people banned.
Yeah, but I mean, is that a justification for saying negative things
No,
to
I mean,
another
just
human
because
being?
it's not
Look,
against the Scopely's rules doesn't mean it's okay to say. I mean, you realize that, right? Or do you feel any remorse for any of the bad things?
No,
Really?
I truly hate Juicy Girl. She is a giant pain in the ass. Has been for the last 2 years on the server.
I know,
Like,
but at the end of the day, my friend, you don't need to hold all that hate in you. It does nothing good for you.
Yeah.
No, that's why I put it on GC.
This is just advice from me to you. Forget everybody else here. I mean, that hate for another human being is just not worth it, man. And
No,
all it does is harm you're harming yourself by holding that hate in.
Look,
so you just gotta let it go, brother.
You're absolutely right, but like I said, I'm tired of their protecting her for all this shit. So I've gone off the reservation. I'm attacking them. I'll keep attacking them until I'm out of the server, or I don't know.
Do you really believe though that attacking is gonna get what you want? All it's gonna do is temporarily make you feel better, in my opinion. But I'm curious if you really believe it's gonna force anybody to do anything.
No, I don't think they're going to change. Look, it's what I've been saying from the entire time. Like, these guys have not changed from day one on this server. All the stuff that Horus DragonFire was putting out there was pure bullshit. None of these guys have changed their behavior, their words, their actions. Because if you want to talk about people who have actually threatened to harm people on this server, and not in relation to anything I've said to JG, like, it's all Borg leadership. They are well known on server for threatening to harm people, for threatening to hurt people. Like, it goes back, like I said, a year and a half for me, and like 2.5 years for the server, their behavior. So there's 4 of them from the same group on here attacking me, but I know I represent more of the server than they do, because most of the server absolutely despises Juicy Girl and her husband because they constantly attack them. And then when they defend themselves, then Borg comes in, or TRBU before them, or RTBT before them to defend them, and then crush whatever small alliance is trying to defend themselves.
I will say this, guys, for everybody. For everybody, please hear me when I say this. When you do anything in the game that you know you are destroying somebody's gameplay, it hurts your server. And that is just flat out a fact. So, right or wrong, whether it's against the rules or not, whether it's against Scopely's rules or your own made-up rules, it doesn't matter. If you're making somebody so freaking angry that they're quitting the game, or they're just angry and acting out, or they're saying stupid shit in GC, it's all a result of bad behavior on both sides. And everybody should really ask themselves and check themselves. And this goes for people on our server, goes your server, every server. You really got to check yourself sometimes, and you gotta say, look, is this really the right thing? Is this healthy for me? Is it healthy for the server? Do I want to be stuck with a 50-player server? Because if you go back and listen to some of the episodes that have had some toxic crap going on for years, that's what you're going to end up with, is a dead server with no players. So
the one thing. Hold on, just a second. Let me just hold on. Let me say this out here, and this is just it's anecdotal, right? So this is just one person's experience, and I don't mind using this person by name. For a long time, we had a problem with there's a female on our server. There's a Jeep girl. I don't know what she's going by now. I haven't seen her floating around for a while. But let me tell you something. As far as behavior goes, and whatever, I'm not going to throw any more stones. I've been there, done that. But this person, it was a very similar relationship that I had and a bunch of other people had. They were really just sick of it. The behavior, the gaslighting that was going on, some of these things. But I've said this before, and I mentioned a little bit of a joke, and I know she felt some type of way about it, and I can't control that, whatever. But At the end of the day, because of the way that the way that most of us think in our server, if there were ever to be, like, let's say, like a server merger, and we were to have some other people, and for some reason, some people from this other server kind of clan together or group together, and were to attack this person, I wouldn't be one of the first people there to kick their teeth in. We may have our own differences, but I'm pretty sure that if I ever ran into her in person, spoke to her in person, that I would probably be able to get along with her. Probably. Who knows? You never know. But, that's the way that I think about it. There are several people that you'll run into, especially playing. Those of us who have money tied up into the game, we are more emotionally invested than those who are free to play. Let's be honest, because we have something we can actually put our hands on, real life money that we've invested into the game. So some of us get a little bit more emotionally invested than others. But I guarantee you, at the end of the day, I don't hate this person. I dislike her play style. I dislike the things that she does, and I disagree with it. But at the end of the day, it's all fine, and I don't harbor any resentment. It's just a game. So I just want to throw that out there. We've been running on a little while about this, and from some of the questions that I've asked, and some of the things that we've been asking myself and Handy. I know Tech's over there lurking, but he's probably got some stuff going on. But the only thing that I would ask is to please think about that. It gets to a point in some of these conflicts, especially in the game that we play, where, to be perfectly honest, from the outside looking in, no one can determine who is wrong or right anymore, because it's just been so many bad things compounding from both sides that it just gets to the point where it's just big melee, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who started it. There's so much heinous crap that has gone on, and things that were said and things that were done, that pretty much everybody's wrong at this point. And I've been in the situation, other people have been in that situation from various servers. We talk to people from all over the game and the community. So I just want to throw that out there. Make sure that everybody understands that we're not trying to, I'm not trying to, at least I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure Handy would agree that we're not trying to poke fingers and say everybody's right or wrong. We're just trying to provide a neutral perspective.
Right.
Anyway, that being said,
hopefully something that would help you carry forward and resolve it in some way so that you can enjoy your game more. That's it.
Yeah, G-Man, what you got?
I will say this, though. As far as us goes, we are a highly PvP team. You know what I mean? However, our leadership, since, change, since people say that change has not occurred, yet we are diplomatic with everyone. One of the teams that we were constantly at war with is now our ally. Change can occur, like you say. But you have to be open to change.
Of course.
You have to be open to it. And you have to be open to seeing other people's perspective, and seeing maybe if that's a good perspective to incorporate into your alliance. Some things are good, some things aren't. You know what I mean? But it's all through trial and error. However, because going to war is always the easy thing to do. You can go to war and you can go to war on in. Obviously, she's done that for the last 3 months. But once again, if you want to stop a war, then the admiral has to reach out and ask what is going to be feasible. What's realistic. It may be, and there may be some change. There may not. Then maybe the war would continue. But there's always a chance that maybe it won't. That's between the two admirals to discuss and to make that determination. But as far as, like I said, as far as LastManDown's, tactics, or whatever the case may be, you can hit, you're going to hit smaller ships. That's part of your gameplay. You know what I mean? And when you see a bigger ship, you're going to bubble. That's fine. You know what I mean? But as far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean? Until, in my opinion, an easy way to resolve the solution, you know what I mean? You can sit there right now on podcast and you can apologize to every woman on server 38. You can go on GC and apologize to every woman on server 38 for every lewd remark that you've made. That would be at least a step in the right direction. However, until the individual feels that he did that's warranted, you know what I mean? Then war will continue. Borg will hunt
Understand.
him, you know what I mean? And Borg's allies will help and hunt him as well.
Yeah,
We're not gonna,
I understand.
we're not womanizers. We're not, I have a mom, and I love my mom. Me and Dragon were talking about this the other day. If my mom did play this game, or if my wife played this game, and you made those comments towards my wife, you're absolutely right. I'd be ready to come find you. Okay, those kind of remarks there, when you want to call somebody a stank fish, or you want to sit there, have you and your buddies concoct a name for your bait, for your new name to be called cunt spray, man, that's just absolutely vile,
Yeah,
above
those are.
all measures.
Well,
You can
we
say
understand.
no, I didn't. Well, I didn't do it, but I mean, hey, you didn't approve it. You know what I mean? You didn't disapprove it. I guarantee you, you can ask Dragon. He's an admiral. Would Dragon allow a player to change his name to cunt spray and still be on your team?
I
Yeah, no.
guarantee it
Would you,
wouldn't
Dragon?
happen on my team.
Yeah, mine either.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying.
We hear.
I mean, in order for change to occur, you know what I mean? You have to first see the problems that you have yourself.
All right. No, and that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I want to continue the conversation, but I'm going to go ahead and end go ahead and give us an ending right now. So thanks for everyone for joining us. Please feel free to hang out after I end this. So thanks for everybody for joining us. Unfortunately, Tech is a little bit busy right now. He's still lurking around in the room. But this has been Trek Talk with Tech and Kirk. I am StrangeKirk, and
I am Strange Handy.
and we will see you all when we see you all.